Good afternoon. Thank you all of us for being to this interesting symposium, Child in Need, and thanks Mrs. Nastia Karkani for her kindly invitation to this symposium. My subject is neonatal mortality factors. The study of neonatal mortality worldwide showed great interest. The high rate of neonatal mortality over time are reduced, particularly in the Western world. An important role of the NICU is to ensure the highest good of human life. Factors of neonatal mortality beyond those related to the mother or the newborn are biological, social, economic, environmental, etc. Any recordings or measurements based on maternal health and neonatal factors. Neonatal mortality is one of the most important challenges of medical science.
Do not proceed.
Perinatal mortality, definition and classification. Total dead fetuses with birth weight above 500 grams, unsedated total early neonatal death, Kostalos 1996. The definition is still disadvantageous because it continues to include only to early neonatal deaths. Categories of neonatal mortality are first, late fetal mortality, second, early neonatal mortality, third, late neonatal mortality, fourth, total neonatal mortality, and fifth, post-neonatal mortality. Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, NICU neonatal. Prevention of neonatal mortality is of the highest importance. A separate area within the facility healthcare with controlled access and controlled environment is the NICU. Following specific spatial and organization model. It features distinctive supportive facilities, ideally lighting and temperature, specific categories of staff employed in specific activities. Neonatal mortality worldwide between 1990 to 2011. We have reduced the rates of neonatal mortality from 1995 to 2011 for most countries. The largest proportion for each 5 years is considered in West and Central Africa. The average of 32 per thousand neonatal deaths in 1990 stood at 22 per thousand in 2011, down 31%. Neonatal mortality in Greece. Between 1990 and 2010. The course of infant mortality in Greece is decreasing over the years. United Nations Children's Fund 2011. Larger values occurred in the decade 1990 to 2000. Infant mortality noted greater improvement compared perinatal in Greece. This is a very important graphic form for the degrees of neonatal mortality in Greece. Neonatal mortality factors. These are, first, low birth weight, second, gestational age, third, intrauterine growth retardation, fourth, direct causes of death, fifth, maternal health and childbirth complications, sixth, premature birth, seventh, maternal medical disorders, eighth, risk factors during pregnancy, ninth, congenital malformations, infections, and asphyxia, 10th, lack of access to healthcare, poverty, and 11th, drug effects. The following data are based on the official data of Hellenic Ministry of Health, Region Attica, and these data are presented in the following graphics. First, we have the sex, and girls are 52% between boys, which are 47%. The second is infant age, which is between 25 and 36 weeks, and we have 68%, and this is existed to 22% at 36 weeks. Third is infant nationality, and Greek is for 70%, and the remaining 30% is of the other nationality: Albanian, Romanian, Bulgarian, Egyptian, etc. Fourth, children hospitalized duration. And the graphic presentation for this, because I don't...
Do not change, please go back to the depiction. Παρακαλώ πολύ τις προηγούμενες, εκεί.
Neonatal mortality factors, I don't like to make you tired with so many statistic numbers. So we will see quickly the neonatal mortality factors and the interest graphics which are following. Low birth weight, gestational age, weeks, and maternal age, and intrauterine growth retardation, and the graphical forms. Neonatal resuscitation, direct causes of death, mother's health during childbirth, maternal medical disorders, and the graphic presentation for this. Last one is the factors during pregnancy, such as placenta abruption, 33%, and multiple pregnancy, 28%. Microbial infections, economic and health reasons, childbirth, and parity. And this is the graphical presentation too for this. Now we have the correlation of demographic factors and neonatal mortality. First is sex factors and neonatal mortality. Males with birth weight between 500 to 1 kilo display slightly higher rates of neonatal mortality, 25% vs 25% of girls, 25.8% vs 25% of girls. Second is that the 25th week shows highest mortality for males. Maternal age between 25 years to 34 years, most dangerous factor for girls. Fourth is that intrauterine growth retardation is responsible for 35% of deaths among males and 17% females. Fifth is that 24% for each sex is the main cause of infant prematurity. The sex factors of neonatal mortality. The maternal health situation affected girls at 31%. Girls greater effect of chronic hypertension and boys are different disorders. Factors during pregnancy, boys placental abruption, 21%. In girls, the multiple pregnancy, 14%. Ninth, neonatal sepsis is the basic microbial infection, 47.9% girls vs 41.7% of boys. And the 10th is that increased deaths for boys born by cesarean section is 34%, while in girls relative equal distribution, 23% for cesarean and 21% for normal childbirth. Now we have the age factors and neonatal mortality. First, most infants were between 25 to 36 weeks of their weight be between 500 grams to 1 kilo. Second, a similar effect for infants 25 to 36 weeks was the maternal age, 25 years to 34 years. Third, 27% of neonates are between 25 to 36 weeks died owing to intrauterine growth retardation. Fourth, immediate cause of death associated with age prematurity childbirth. Fifth, poor maternal health affected neonates of all ages with a greater impact on them of 25 to 36 weeks. Sixth, in neonates of all ages, originally the effect of chronic hypertension and at second level diabetes. Seventh, placental abruption and multiple pregnancy affected neonatal mortality by age. Eighth, the majority of bacterial infections related to neonatal sepsis. Ninth, low income and cesarean has significant effects on deaths between 25th and to 36th weeks. And 10th, the neonatal mortality between 25th to 36th week, higher rate, related mainly to the absence of previous fetus or was the second. Conclusions. The majority of neonatal deaths regards girls, numerically. Second, the majority of cases refers to Greek nationality newborns. Third, the length of stay of the majority of newborns die ranges from a few years to a week, increasing the chances of survival of those that exist 1 week. Fourth, most infants who decays not exceeding a birth weight of 500 grams to 1 kilo. Fifth, the most dangerous mother's ages, birth of stillborn infants, were between 25 to 34 years, and especially for mothers' ages existing 30 years old. And sixth, low birth weight and intrauterine growth retardation create the conditions for neonatal death. Seventh, any recovery effort focuses on using bag mask. As immediate cause is detected premature birth and then the asphyxiation complications. Ninth, neonatal mortality is significantly influenced by the mother's health during childbirth and the existence of medical disorders such as hypertension, diabetes mellitus, etc. Tenth, possible placental abruption and multiple pregnancy are key factors of neonatal mortality during pregnancy. 11th, low income and choice cesarean section contribute to an increase in neonatal mortality probabilities. And 12th, in most cases of neonatal mortality, the mother had no previous parity. A summary. Summary includes, first, neonatal mortality was associated with extreme prematurity and extremely low birth weight. Second, the health of mother, multiparity, genetic, and structural anomalies also affected the mortality rate. And the third, all these factors of neonatal morbidity and mortality and the subsequent conclusions should be taken into account and should suggest areas for quality improvement efforts. Is the bibliography, and this is the picture we see now is the sculpture of Hermes hold infant Dionysus, the most popular premature baby in ancient Greek. This sculpture has found in Olympia region and is showed in Archaeological Museum of Ancient Olympia. The sculptor is Praxiteles, Attic sculptor, and has made this the 4th century BC. Thank you a lot.